Hope not.
Taylor, have you heard of the Outdoor Boys YouTube channel?
Yeah, I love that guy. He's great.
Oh, that guy's good. He is so like, all right, Kyle, this guy is in Alaska. He makes a camping video every week, but it's cold. And I get exhausted watching how hard he works. All these Alaskan campers, I watched a couple of them now. They carry a lot of gear and they drag it with a sled. And when they go uphill, they kind of have a longer rope. So they get themselves uphill, then they pull the sled up afterwards. Huh? And the snow will be like 6 foot deep. And he's walking with snowshoes, sinking like 18 inches or so, but every so often he sinks like to his nipples and has to work his way out again. He's like 12 miles deep into the woods and he needs to work.
What if he breaks his ankle?
There's a train in Alaska that doesn't seem to fucking go anywhere. And you just hop on this train and tell the train to stop here. So that's what he does. He takes the train into the woods and then he gets off the train and it leaves them behind, and there's no civilization like within a dozen miles or so.
Okay.
And then, I've seen him like the snow's like 9 feet deep. He's like, I'm going to try a hot tent. Yeah. Well, apparently you can't put a hot tent on top of the snow, which made sense after I processed it for a while, but I'm like, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then he digs this circle all the way. It's maybe I exaggerated with 9 feet. Maybe it's 6 to 7 feet deep.
I've seen that video. Yeah. It's deep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tall, it's taller than him. And he seems like a tall guy.
Yeah. And he digs all the way down. Then he realizes that the circle that he dug, the cylinder, you could say, isn't quite large enough in diameter. So he has to widen it for his tent. And then he's collecting all this wood. This guy's working like deep into nightfall. And the tent is so hot in there. And then, even though there's a blizzard outside and it's snowing on him. And then the next video, no tent. Now he's just camping in the wild with no tent. And I don't know how he survives all these things. He gets home and his wife is like, "You're okay." All right. On one hand, he's enormously competent, so the odds are he's going to make it home. On the other hand, I watch a few YouTube channels where people basically risk their lives for content, like the motorcycle guys who go 120 miles an hour through the Appalachian curvy roads. And Appalachian curvy roads, by the way, lots and lots of roadkill, which is a inconvenience for cars and deadly for motorcycles.
Bald eagles up there.
Yes, they already got the black bears.
So, really the roadkill that's not dead yet. The potential roadkill is the bigger issue, and they all like die or get wildly hurt or locked up in jail. And this guy to me seems like the innocent version of that. He will eventually have a problem he can't solve in the woods by himself.
Doesn't he have a sat phone though?
He hasn't talked about it, but I bet he does.
I bet he does. He seems incredibly competent. Have you seen the one, Woody, where it was one of his tentless journeys, and it was like 9 feet deep of snow. And so what he did, Kyle, is he like started with a shovel and dug stairs out like 10 feet down to the ground level. And like the way he would remove snow is like using his shovel to like create blocks of snow and then like pick up individual blocks. And so this guy's cooking. He's moving fast, and he gets down these like 9 feet of stairs that he makes, and then he has to make another like 9 foot slope up because, as he explained it, like otherwise the wind is going to go down into my little hole instead of just going right through and up the other side. And then so he takes a cutout and he just digs like a 6 foot tall, like a 6 or 7 foot by 8 foot like dome in there, and it's like an underground igloo. And you know that sound that snow makes, like where it's kind of almost squeaky, and it like if you compress it, he'd be in there hunched over. He like tried to set his bed mat up, his bedroll, and it wasn't big enough, the little shelf he made. And so he's like, oh, fuck. And so then he's like shaving. He didn't say, oh, fuck. He's a Mormon. And so he's like, fiddlesticks. Yeah. And so then he starts shaving down the other sides of it. And he's like, yeah, this will probably hold. And then it does that like squeaky snow falling sound. And he just waits for a sec. He's like, no, if it was going to fall, it would have fallen right then. And so then he keeps carving it out. He builds his bed roll little platform because he says you need to sleep higher. That keeps you warmer. And then he like made a table for himself to cook. He seems like the most confident wilderness guy because he doesn't do a lot of the Bear Grylls intentional difficulty stuff. He's like, this is what I bring, and this is why I bring it, and this is how I use it. It's like how you would actually go in the wilderness and survive is like a very small amount of stuff. This guy doesn't have like a vest with a bunch of, and this is my special knife just for dinner time. It's like, no.
Small amount of stuff, but he has the right. He has these, the jacket that you call a puffy. Is that a term everyone uses? He has slippers that look like they're a puffy jacket. He has down pants that look like they're a puffy jacket. And this guy dresses up like the Michelin Man or something and sleeps in that. And again, like, he doesn't bring a lot of gear, but man, he has the right specialized gear. He has seemingly some durable, lightweight shovel with an extendable pole. What is the stick on a shovel called?
Like the handle. Yeah.
Is it called a handle? Anyway. Yeah. Anyway, so that it extends, and I'm like, I bet this is some sort of lightweight, perfect for the task shovel. It's not a random shovel. It's only good for snow. It's not that strong, but it's just what he needs. And
the ones where he brings his kid are crazy. It'll be like, you haven't seen those? Oh, no. I went probably 1 month ago. I spent like 5 nights in a row just watching Outdoor Boys channel. That guy rocks. But sometimes he has like young boys who also love the wilderness and they want to spend time with their dad, obviously. And so he's like in the middle, like dragging a sled, and he's filming the opening of a video like, all right, we're now should be about 9.5 miles out into the Alaskan wilderness. It's incredibly cold. Thankfully, my moving right now is keeping me warm. And it's not just me tonight, gang. I got my 4-year-old son, Alan, here. And he's like, and the son is like buried in the sled where you can just like barely see his face. And so then he's like surviving and doing all these things. And then also like doing dad stuff where he's like, all right, as soon as I finish building this, guys, I always try to keep a positive attitude. I'm positive right now, but it is tiring after a 15-mile hike in the snow, building a sled and then building an underground cavern to then make dinner. And then subsequently, we have to, we're going to do color time with my son. We got coloring books. And so he's like barely holding it together. Dude. He's so tired. That guy's awesome. Good dad.
I've been watching a lot of exhausted people. I watched 2 kids. They're 16 and 18. Do you know what a hydrofoil is?
Yep.
This is like a surfboard with a wing on a stick. Yeah, and you kind of jump on it and go. Also, if the waves are headed in the right direction, you can kind of ride the waves because you're basically going downhill as the wave moves forward. And these guys are like, well, no one's ever gone from, I don't know Hawaii, but like from Oahu to Whakapaka, and it's 100 miles. And one guy's name is like Josh, and the other guy's name is like Mufaka. And but they both sound super Hawaiian. They're young. They're 16 and 18. And then you hear them talk about their experience. He's like, well, I started surfing when I was 4. I started hydroboarding when I was like 9. And he's 16 now. And you're like, fuck, this guy's been like,
grew up on it
almost all his life, but doing this stuff. And they did have a chase boat, but they went 100 miles through the open ocean on a hydrofoil. They get to land on they like halfway through. They're like, how much farther is it? How much farther is it? And they were so
in
exhausted.
The Pacific.
Yes.
100 miles. How fast are you moving on those things?
I don't know. It was still daylight when they got there, so I don't think it took more than 12 hours.
Quicker than I thought.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And they're pumping them the whole time? Like, are they putting physical exertion, or is the wind blowing?
They were pumping the whole time on video, but I think that they were able to ride waves a lot. There was a hurricane approaching,
the boat a lot,
blowing the waves in the right direction.
That's what we do. Dude, we should copy that video. We pump for like an hour, get shots of that, from every angle, and then we just get on that fucking boat, go home.
Yeah, the next scene is all of us sunburned.
Yeah.
Dude, it just looks so exhausting. And they stopped, and you'd see the boat like hand them food or like a banana or something in motion. So they like had a shovel that they'd put out there. The surfers would come along, grab the banana and eat it while they're going. They're very good at what they do, but the exhaustion, but the Outdoor Boys level tired.
Yeah. Well, that's a good, if you're looking for, I know you're not as into the survival content as we are, Kyle, but Outdoor Boys is a good one. If you're,
every now and then I watch.
That's what I like about him too.
I watched some adjacent stuff. I watched this guy build his, a cabin just like almost barehanded one time.
Yes.
And I watched this one guy who I think he's partially reviewing products, but he does this car camping where he's in the car and the back of his car is tricked out to make a good place to rest. But he uses these like gimmicky ass heaters that burn those little they're like alcohol lamps or something.
Mm-hmm.
They're called like Pure Heat or something. They're those short cylinders you light on top, not the sternos. There's something that doesn't make carbon monoxide, and he's just in his car with this gadget where it burns 3 of those simultaneously beneath this like piezo pneumatic fan.
It burns without making carbon monoxide.
Yeah, because of what it's burning. I suppose.
Right.
And so like it's burning. And it's heating up this metal infrastructure that's inside the top of the box. There's like a tray in the bottom that holds the heating elements, and he slides that in. And then the top of the thing is like piezo pneumatic or something. So it somehow or another, through the heat, the fans move. Like the fans are caused to move by the heat, and then that just makes them like turn harder. And so he's just got a heat blower over there now, keeping his little and he's got a carbon monoxide detector next to him. I was like, dude, you got a detector, right? And finally he like pulled one out, but he was in like negative something temperatures. It was crazy cold outside the car. Like it was, and he didn't have enough clothes, I felt like, to survive if he needed to. Of course, he could just start the car and turn the heater on. Yeah. But his whole thing is he's trying to survive out there every night. I just thought those gadgets were neat. I do get into the gadgetry a little bit because I've always liked gear and just shit that does cool shit. And the sat phone would have to be number one. I need that like get out of jail free card. I need that thing where I'm like, hey, you know how I said, things could go bad? Well, they did. Yep, I'm sending you a pin. like
I'm incredibly cold.
I've done a lot of motorcycle camping, and there's a lot of decisions to be made with regards to like whether this equipment earns its weight and its space, because you have so little capacity on a motorcycle. And he brings more gear than I would have expected him to. It's certainly not saying he's wrong, right? He must know more than me for sure. But I'm like, look at that shovel and that saw he brought. This isn't some like make do with a Leatherman type thing. He's got a real saw that he cuts down trees with. No, it doesn't even fold it. It's just he puts it in the sled. It's 16 inches long, and that's all you get.
I had a Gerber fold-out limb saw that I used to climb trees for deer hunting, and I was I was like, my God, these teeth are so aggressive. It's incredible. Like every inch of stroke is taking like chunks out of this. You felt powerful, especially if you were in like softwood. You were like, oh, a 3-inch limb, shoop, 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 shoop. And it's like that's all it takes. I always had that thing when I was in the woods, like attached to my belt hanging. Because you could just, as you climb the tree, you cut the limbs off that were obstructing your climb and just keep going.
Yeah, dude, it's neat. It's fun to watch him do. He's got so many water bottles and tools, and I see guys set up cutting stations for the firewood. Like that's a good use of time, because if you have a lot of wood to cut, don't fucking hold it.
You ever watch that? You ever watch that buff chick who like splits wood?
The buff chick that splits wood. I didn't know this was
but you have my attention,
dude. I gotta I'll see if I can find it in a minute.
This is right there. I prefer my women to clean windows and lingerie, but okay.
like she's got, dude. You'd love this chick's gun.
Wait, I think I know her. I think I've seen her. I don't know her, but like I think I have seen this.
She's very strong. And she's really good at splitting wood, and it's fun to watch her fucking split wood.
It's neat when they're legit. Like the legit people. I watch a lot of sailors, and some are basically recent van lifers learning the ropes. And then I'm watching this other one. He's doing the Northern Passage. You guys familiar with that?
No.
All right. So imagine you're on the west coast of Alaska. You go around it and then across the top of Canada to Greenland. And that's where they're sailing. This is just a 45-foot sailboat, and they're dodging icebergs that are a real problem. They have a drone so you can see that like ice flows, and the guy's incredibly competent, and he does it well. It's fun to watch that kind of content.
Yeah.
I like this. The real deal.
Check this chick out. I'm hoping Zach can play it. It's a TikTok.
Is she Canadian?
I don't fucking know.
She said A.
Oh. God, look at her.
Right?
That
She's got a great attitude too. She goes, lovely.
She's got a great attitude too.
Jeez. Now I know she has a pump on, but
fucking ripped.
Looking
fucking
ripped.
strong and bulky. Like not in a negative way. Yeah.
You got fucking Sarah Connor in Terminator 2. You don't know nothing about that, Taylor, but she got super ripped in that movie doing chin-ups.
I think I've seen pictures that you've shown.
Exceeds her, I think.
Yeah, because she's actually doing it.
Yeah, it's super impressive. I get recommended her shit and a bunch of shit like that. I get medieval weapon information, like guys utilizing them in real life, like showing how they would be used. I get lots of that. Yeah.
I watched the video just last night before bed that was like analyzing the difference between Chinese and Western fortresses in like the 15th century and how like the Russian Empire at that time like took some fort over that the Ming dynasty or whatever wanted back, and that I guess Western powers had these. It almost ties into that Japanese show we were watching, but Western powers had these like really aggressive, powerful cannons that weren't seen in Asia at the time because Asia Western walls were like 100% stone. But in Asia, they were making walls where like the outside facade was stone, but it was all like dirt and mounded in the middle. And so like they didn't know the right way to attack this Russian fort and had huge losses. It's really interesting.
Do you know the story about Constantinople falling to the giant cannon in 1453 or whatever?
Was it one giant cannon?
So this cannon maker went to like the fucking emperor of Constantinople, probably Constantine. I don't fucking know. But he's like, I got this great idea. I want to make the biggest cannon that's ever been built. It's outrageous. You see, I'm gonna have these bands of copper. They're gonna go around the outside. I can overpressure this thing. You won't even believe. He's like, well, how much would it cost? Oh, you're out of your fucking mind. I'm not giving you 20,000 dinars. Get out of here. So he goes to the Ottoman emperor and he says, yo, have you ever seen a gigantic cannon? You know what? I know you hate the Constantinople people. Maybe you could use that. You fund my cannon. I mean, this would. And so that's what happened. The Ottomans funded his giant cannon, and they showed back up with the giant cannon made by the guy who was turned down, and they blew the walls down of Constantinople.
Yeah, the Turks, the Ottomans, took over, turned it into Istanbul, and that's
what happens when you. And that is why, that is why you don't cheap out on your military-industrial complex. All right. Stop pennies.
By that point, they were deep in the decline. The Byzantines, they weren't projecting power the way
they cheaped out on their
cannon. Yeah. Yes, really, that one cannon could have been history changing. They just needed to fund that one guy. That's a really cool story. I didn't know.
Don't get cheap on me.